Hello, everyone. So, have you ever asked yourself this question to say, what does Wes's CV look like? Or maybe have you ever asked yourself this question to say, what CV did Wes use when he was applying for the job in the UK? Today, I have decided to answer these questions. Or I should say, today, I have decided to expose myself. Today, I have decided to show you guys my CV. Hi, guys, it's Wes here. So, back with another video, and today's video, as I've said, I just want to talk about my CV, the CV that I used when I was applying for the job here in the UK. So I'll take you into details like the actual CV that I used. So you may want to watch until the end of this video. So let me quickly say this. Many a times people would ask this question to say, you're always there telling people what they should put on their CVs. You're always telling people like what they should remove. You're always telling people like things to do with the CV. It seems you are the master of this whole CVs thing. But what does your CV look like yourself? All right, so that's what I want to do today. Today, I want to cover my CV. Today, I want to talk about my CV. But now, before I talk about my CV, there'll be a few things that I will cover right before I talk about my CV. But I'll take you through like my CV from like the first thing that I've written on my CV to the last thing on my CV, just for you to have an idea and for you guys to appreciate the CV that I have or the one that I used when I was applying for this job here in the UK. So I won't waste much of your time. Let's get right into the details. Now, before I go right into the deep end of showing you my CV, there are a few things that I want to take note of. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about here is there is no one size that fits all in terms of the CVs. Uh, why I'm saying this is because you may watch this video and then you take my CV and you run with it and be like, you know what, this CV got Wesley a job in the UK. I will use the very same CV. I'll be able to get a job in the UK. Well, I would say you might get a job here in the UK or elsewhere if you use the CV that I use. But I just want to say there is no one size that fits all in terms of the CVs. Now, there are different templates, the different sizes, shapes, forms of CVs. The idea is for you to find a CV template, or I should say the CV that works for you. So what works for me may not work for you, but the idea is for you to find a CV that works for you. Now, let me be honest. I work on different people's CVs. I do get CVs. Sometimes I look at a CV, I'm like, yo, what can I change on this CV? But anyway, to be honest, it's my field. So there's never been a CV that I've received and I didn't find something to add or remove. I always find something to do on a CV. So I just wanted to clear that out to say there is no perfect CV, but there's also not one size that fits all in terms of the CVs. Now, we have that covered. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about a CV is simply a representation of the value that you will bring to the prospective employer, right? You are simply saying, you know what, guys, if you employ me, this is kind of like the promise that I'm making to you guys to say, this is what I can be able to offer you guys. So it's more like a promise to say, I've been able to do this and I can be able to do that as well in the future if you guys employ me. We all know of that saying that says, the past is the best predictor of the future. That's what happens with the CV. You are telling people, you are telling the employers to say, you know what, guys, this is my past. I can use my past to kind of like predict my future. You're simply saying, you know what, I can do what I'm doing or what I've done, and I can do it in the future. So that's what a CV is all about. So it is representing your value. That's the second thing that I want to say. On the third thing that I also want to say is make sure you're honest on your CV, because if you're not honest, it can backfire, right? So the idea is you just have to make sure that you are honest on your CV. You don't have to kind of like lie or maybe add durations of the times that you've worked at a certain organization just for you not to show a job gap or something like that. No, make sure that you are very honest on the CV. Now, another thing, I think that's the third thing that I talked about, honesty. Another fourth thing that I'll say is make sure you have a professional CV. Now, what I mean by this is you're applying for a professional job, but then your CV doesn't look professional. It leaves a lot to be desired. You'd be like, now this person wants to get into a professional role, but then their CV doesn't look professional. Now, the CV that I'll show you, it is a professional CV. It can get you a job anywhere else. Sure. So I like to think that the CVs that I do are good. So that's it. Yeah. So I just wanted to say, make sure that you have a professional CV that is well in a proper layout. Like it should be in a proper layout. Because let me be honest, I do get some CVs, they're just scattered all over the page. You'd be like, I can't follow through this CV. All right. So I'm simply saying, make sure you have a professional CV. Now, another thing that I want to talk about when you are sending a CV, be it to the UK or anywhere else, I just want to talk about the saving in terms of the name that you have to use when you are saving it. And also, I want to talk about the format. Now, I always advise that the format should be in PDF format if you are sending it, because for a PDF format, it's much easier for it to be read on the ATS, that's the application tracking system. But also, the format cannot be manipulated in any different way, regardless of whatever gadget you're using to view the CV. But for a Word document, depending on the gadget you are using, the format can be manipulated or can be distorted. Let me use that word. So I always advise that you should use these two formats. Now, in terms of saving the name when you are sending the CV, be it in the UK or elsewhere, make sure you save it in the right way. Now, why I'm saying this is because sometimes when you're sending a CV, you're sending a CV to a recruiter and then you just write it draft number 1 or updated number 2 or CV2. No, you have to write it in a proper manner. Now, what you can do is you can write Wezi Munkondia, then CV, then you can write the position that you're applying for. That makes it much easier. But you just can't write CV. No, you're making it difficult for the recruiter in terms of trying to track your CV, which one and everything. Like they have to rename it, so you're making it difficult for them. So make sure you kind of like name it in the right way as well as in the right format. Now, there are other things that I also say you shouldn't put on your CV. You'll see in my CV. Uh, these ones I would say it only depends if they have been requested. If they haven't been requested, make sure you don't put them. Now, I'm talking about a picture. You don't have to put a picture, mainly because, to be honest, it just takes out space on your CV. Another thing that you don't have to put is your age or date of birth. Another thing that you don't have to put is a marital status, whether you're single, married. To be honest, these things, I always like to call them discriminating factors, or even your religion. Someone may look at your date of birth and they're like, he's too old for this job, or he's too young for this job. Oh, she's too old. You know what? They'll be like, you know what? We won't continue with this person. But to be honest, you can be able to do the job, but they have just kind of like made it in their mind that you're too old for the position itself. So, if possible, you don't have to put these on the CV, only if they have been requested. For example, they said we're looking for candidates within this age range, let's say from 20 to 35. Then you're going to be able to put your date of birth. Now, another thing that I just wanted to quickly say is make sure you tailor each CV to the job that you're applying for. I'll show you in my CV like how I was able to tailor it for the job that I was applying for. Now, why I'm saying this is because sometimes we always put everything that we have done in our careers on the CV, but that's not what is supposed to happen. You just have to put the relevant details or information that is needed for that specific role, not like everything. Now, I'll give you an example. Um, for example, you've been working for, let's say, 20 years, and then you're applying for a job. You don't have to put like the job that you did like in 2004, like with all the duties, what you're doing, or a job that you did in 1999. No, most of the times you'll be employed on the basis of the recent jobs that you have, let's say for the last 5 years. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't put them. You can just put them to say, let's say, previous experience. I worked for XYZ in 1994 to 2009, for example. But you don't have to write, oh, I was doing this, I was doing this, I was doing this. I'll show you in my CV. So, yeah, I thought I would just talk about this as kind of like laying the foundation. Now, what we'll do now, let's go and I'll show you my CV, like from the top to the bottom for the one that I used when I was applying for the job in the UK. Let's go. All right, now I want to show you my CV, as I've said. All right, here we go. So this is my CV. Now, as you can see, it's just 3 pages, straight to the point, which is one thing that I'll say. Just make sure that your CV is short. Maybe the maximum number of pages that you can have, maybe 4 if you have a lot of experience. But for most of us, I think 2 to 3 pages is enough. Now, let me quickly go through my CV now. As you can see, that's my name, and then I've also quickly introduced myself with my like in my field, to say I'm a procurement and supply chain specialist. Now that kind of like makes it much easier for the one who is reviewing my CV, because they will know from the onset to say the CV that I'm about to review, uh, it is for someone who is a procurement and supply chain specialist. Now let me see what else is there for this guy. All right, so that's my address, and then that's my phone number. Actually, I've left this phone number here for a reason. If you guys want some revamp on your CV, if you want me to work on your CV, if you want me to work on your CV, just send me a message on this number on WhatsApp. I'll be able to work on your CV. But guys, I do charge. It is not for free, so that you know. All right. Yeah, that's my email. You can even write me an email if you want a CV revamp. Now, one thing that you see on the CV is there's a LinkedIn link or URL. Now, remember I said you don't have to put things like your pictures and the like, but as an alternative for the picture, the LinkedIn profile, the LinkedIn link comes in handy. Because if someone wants to look at, wants to know how you look like, or maybe what you do online, they can quickly click this link, because I've just clicked the link. Now it has brought this option, so it will open LinkedIn now straight to my profile. So you see, if someone wants to look at how I look like, they'll come and see here and say, okay, let's see the profile photo of this guy who is already he's a procurement, whatever. Cool. So yeah, that's it. Instead of you putting your whole picture and the like, you can simply put the LinkedIn link. So yeah, that's it. You can find a space for it, regarding on where you want to put it. You can be able to find a space. But here, you can see I've put it here where I'm highlighting yellow on the CV. Now let's go on with the CV to continue reviewing it. Now, I've been able to write a profile for myself, like some people use to call it, some people call it summary or professional profile, or just different names for this. But it's just, I just didn't write a heading for this. So it's just close to like 10 lines to say, okay, I'm a responsible procurement supply chain, strong foundation overseeing procurement and supply chain in leading international development and global health projects funded by USAID, the World Bank, Global Fund, Global Vaccine Alliance and Immunization, that is Gavi. And if you're able to see from this explanation, I haven't mentioned the organizations that I've worked for. I've just mentioned the projects. Now, I just don't want you to have a CV that is repetitive, because if I was to write that, oh, I have worked for this organization, I've worked for this organization in the profile, then it kills the purpose for me to have the same information within the CV. So I always say you don't have to be repetitive on your CV. Just make sure that you have proper information that is relevant. Now, all right. So by the time that I was applying for the job at NHS, I was working for DT Global, as you can see. So that's Cardinal International, formerly Cardinal International Development. So you see on the CV that what I wrote were only 7. Let me count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I only wrote 7. Excuse me, 7 duties. Now, to be honest, was I only doing these 7 things? No, I was doing more than these 7 things. But to be honest, you can't write everything that you were doing, because if you do that, then you will remain with you have like a long CV. You have like maybe 20 pages. So I've highlighted what I was doing at DT Global, and these were only relevant to the job that I was applying for at NHS Highland. So I only specifically chose these 7 and say, okay, these ones are matching the job that I am applying for at NHS Highland. So that is what I would also advise, to say only pick out what is relevant to the job that you're applying for. You don't just have to pick out everything and say, okay, this is it, this is it. No, only pick out that which is relevant to the job that you are applying for. So yeah, that is, yeah. So let's go to the next job. That is at Global AIDS Interfaith Alliance. I worked for Gaia. I only worked there for a year, which was a good place as well. And as you can see, I only took out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 things. Now, was I doing more than this? Yes, I was doing more, but I only had to pick these 6 things because these were the ones that were relevant to the job that I was applying for. So as I said, you don't have to put everything. Just put only that is relevant to the job itself. Now we go back, we go down. I work for Partners in Hope for some 4 or 5 years, from 2015 to 2019. I also only picked out only what was relevant for the job. Now, and if you go down, you see that I also worked for College of Medicine. But let me say one thing. I did. Are these the only jobs that I've worked for? The answer is no. I've also worked for Malawi Electoral Commission. I've worked for Harley Reid. I've worked for Public-Private Partnership Commission, but I did not put those ones here because they were not relevant to the job that I was applying for. The Public-Private Partnership one was okay, but I had only worked there for 2 months, so I was like, I don't have to put it here, so I did not put it here. So that's it. The last procurement job that I had, or the first one, was the one from College of Medicine, Sports Complex. Then I worked for Harley Reid. Then I worked for Partners in Hope. I then worked for Gaia. I then worked for DT Global. And then here we are. So as you can see, only write those jobs that are relevant to the job that you're applying for. Now, let's go down to the skills. Now, if you look at the skills, you can also alter this. You can also change it depending on where you're applying for and the job that you're applying for. So I only put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, these were in line with what I was applying for. So I also didn't make myself look perfect, as you will see in the ratings or in the scores. So the first one was for me to reviewing procurement policies, because that is a key thing. So I said I'm good at that. I didn't say I'm excellent. The next one was like management of procurement processes. For that one, I know that I'm excellent because I've been doing this for some time. Then drafting procurement documents, I'm very good at that. Communication, I think I'm good. Can you guys tell me? Yeah, I think I'm good. So yeah, teamwork as well as sourcing. So I didn't want to just score myself excellent on everything. I was like, you know what? You might as well just be honest and say, for some of these things, you're not so excellent. You might as well go learn while you're there. So that's it on the skills. I didn't want to put everything as 100%. Now, if you remember, I said the education can come down. So I decided to put it down here. So that's it. So I had to put all the education, which was, let me see, I wanted to say, I wanted to put the education which was relevant to this position. Everything was relevant. So I put the master's there, and I put the bachelor's degree there. I put the SIPs, and then CMI, as well as, now let me talk about SIPs, the one that I'm highlighting. So I've been able to do a certificate, a diploma, and everything, but I've just put the highest qualification for this one. Instead of putting everything, I've just put the highest qualification for this one. So you don't have to put all of the certificates that you have. Yeah. So only for this one, I've just only selected the highest qualification, which is a professional diploma. All right. So if you go down, that's CMI, and then there's the time that I was applying for this job, I had just written, no, I had received my certificate for sealed, my results, no certificate. Yeah, so but in the CV I wrote pending because I was about to get it. But yeah, that's it. And then finally, the certifications and affiliations. And then I've also written about the referees. I said available upon request. So yeah, pretty much that's it. There isn't much. It's not a lot, guys. As I said, it's just a basic CV, just straight to the point. I think I've tried to make it easier for everyone to see this CV and easily make sense of it. All right, so yeah, that's it for my CV. Yeah, guys. So that was my CV. I hope you have been able to learn a thing or two. But one thing that I just wanted to quickly say is, if you have noted in my CV, there's one thing that I've always maintained, or I always made sure it was there, is simplicity. I did not want to complicate it with a lot of words, a lot of things, just a lot of things. No, I just went straight to the point without adding too much to it. That is also one of the things that I just wanted to say. Make sure the CV is as simple as it can be. You shouldn't complicate it with a lot of words, a lot of. You just don't have to complicate it. Just make sure it is just straight to the point, straightforward, as you have seen on my CV. So yeah, guys, I hope you have learned a thing or two from this video. Uh, if you find it helpful, you might want to subscribe. Um, you might also want to share this with your friend who might find this helpful. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching this far. If you have reached this far, thank you very much. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Hi guys. So just one last thing. So when I was editing the video and before I posted it, there was one thing that came to my mind that I had just forgotten. So aside from the CV that you have just seen, and apart from just the CV itself, I'll say one thing. When I was applying for the job, one thing that they also requested was for me to answer some questions in an essay format. So yes, as much as you should work towards having a good CV, proper format, whatever, and everything that you can do with a CV, just also make sure that you are good at writing essays. The best you can do is practice. The more you write, the more you get better. The more you write, the more you get better. That's how it happens. All right. So yes, I thought I'd just mention that because I realized that I didn't mention it in the video. So I just wanted to say, okay, you know what, say it at the end. And if you have watched this far, I'm really thankful. To be honest, I'm really thankful because it's one of the longest videos that I've done on this channel and you've been able to watch the whole of it. Now, let me quickly say one thing. I didn't plan this, to be honest. When I was starting this video, I said you should watch until the end because the B tips. I didn't know that this would be the final tip. It has just happened. It has just happened. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you subscribe and you find these videos helpful. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.